Hello my friends, welcome back. How are you? I hope doing okay. Here's what I'm up to today. Let's create a fairy in a jar using this beautiful matte half moon tray. I will list this tray in the description box if you're interested in purchasing it for yourself. It is matte, but you can put a dome on it and make the top and the bottom shiny, and the sides will be matte, and that's what I'm going to do. So if you would like to watch me create that, kick back, relax, and let's get to it. I put a little bit of gold leaf inside my cup here already, and I'm going to put in some of that non-sinking glitter because I gotta have glitter. And I'm going to stir it up in my cup, making sure I don't have any clumps in there. And I've cut out some butterflies here that I want to use in this piece. And I'm going to spritz a little alcohol in the mold. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this in on the edges. I just want the gold leaf on the edges. I don't want it in the middle. And then we're going to put these butterflies in on the edge as well. Now I'm going to clean up my mess here that I made. Getting that gold leaf down on the edges and making sure that none of it's on the top. Now I'm going to try to get the rest of the gold leaf out of the cup and get it down in here too. Yep, one more piece. Can't leave that in there. I have a little bit of clear resin right here, and I'm just going to drop it in, making sure that the edge is completely full, because I need that resin to be right up there to the edge, you know, not coming over the half moon, but right up there to where it needs to be, where I want it. So I'm completely covering all of the edges, but I don't want to go over, you know, into the center of the half moon. And I'm just cleaning up my edges here. Now we're going to go ahead and go in with these butterflies. I'm going to dip them in the resin and introduce them to that resin before I put them down in here. And so hopefully no bubbles will attach to them. And I'm just going to place them in there. I'm putting 3 on the outer edge, and on the inner edge of the half moon, I'm going to put 3 there as well. And I'm just trying to scoot that gold leaf around a bit so that you can see the butterfly and showcase it a bit more, because I don't want the gold leaf covering any of the butterflies. I want them to be visible. And I'm just dipping out a big piece of that gold leaf. And here's the last butterfly I'm putting in. And then we're going to cover this and we're going to let it cure. But first I'm going to clean up the top here with this silicone tip tool. I get these from the Dollar Tree and I love them. Okay, now we're back, and the edges have cured. So now we're going to go in for our second step. And there I go with some more glitter. I must have the glitter. And I'm going to stir it up, get it nice, and stir it up into my resin here. And then I'm going to set it to the side over there for a minute. And I'm going to spritz some alcohol in my tray. And then we're going to go ahead and pour. Now the fun begins. Here's the jar that I picked to use, and I'm going to stick it down here in the cup, and I'm going to get some resin, cover it in resin before I place it into the tray. I'm outside. I'm sorry about some of the noises that you may hear. It was so beautiful out here this morning, and I just had to get out here and enjoy it a bit. But I am enjoying hearing those birds chirp. I keep my bird feeders full out here, and they just love coming to my backyard. And I love watching them. Okay, so I placed that jar down in here, and I love this jar because they're so magical. They have the sparkle of, look like, it just reminds me of fireflies flying in a jar. And you'll see what I mean. I'm going to show it to you later when the tray is matte, and the difference when we put the dome on it, how it sparkles and just looks like fireflies are flying in the jar. Now I have this beautiful fairy, and I'm going to cover her in resin as well. And she's sitting down, so I thought that was fitting for this tray, because she's going to be sitting inside of this jar at the bottom. And she has a pretty plant next to her. That's lavender in color. I'm going to scoot that jar down just a tad. And now I have this mushroom here, and the stem on it's a little bit longer than I want, so I'm just going to trim it off a little bit, right like that. And I'm going to cover it in some resin. And then I'm going to put it right down here. And we'll add something to it later, because it just looks all lonely over there by itself. But first we're going to work on this fairy jar a little bit more. I want to see if I can find something that looks like it's floating inside the jar. Something on this sheet here. So I think this, it looks like a feather. So I think this might work. It's a little bit bigger than I would like, but we're going to make it work. And I'm going to find a nice little spot for it inside of this jar that makes it look like it's just floating down or up. Just floating in the jar. Now, I really like this piece right here. It looks like a diamond or a gem inside of a little, like a hanger. And we're going to put it up here like it's hanging inside of the jar. It just looks so magical and fitting for this. So I'm going to make sure I cover it in the resin. And that's starting to look very magical. Okay, now let's get some of these butterflies out. And let's see what we can do with them. I have to be careful with these. I love them. I absolutely love them. They look so beautiful in resin. But they are so fragile. I just have to be really careful with them because they will rip. And I'm going to try to stick to like the whites and the blues and the lavenders because we're going to place a black dome on the back of this. So I think that white and the blues and stuff like that will look a lot better with the black over them. The white more than anything. So I'm trying to pick the ones that are white or have white in them. Now, this one I'm going to put down here on the mushroom. So it's a little bit darker than the other ones that I used, that I'm going to use or have used up here on the fairy jar. And I think it looks so cute right there on top of the mushroom. Like it's just sitting there. Now I'm going to pick out a few more butterflies and we're going to try to place them like they're flying out of the jar. And I'm going to zigzag them from left to right to just make them look just beautiful and magical. Let's put this big one right up top here. And it'll be the start of our little line here that we're going to make of them coming out of the jar. I think this light blue one here will be very pretty. Because with the black dome on the back of it, well, I ripped that one. So I'm going to go over here to the other one that's identical to it. There we go. We got that one. It keeps sticking to my gloves. And I'm going to put it right about here. Now let's find another one. This one's got some white in it with a little bit of color, so I think it's going to look great on there. I ripped it. Let's find one over here on this sheet. Let's see. Here we go. This one's got white in it too. It's got white in it with a little bit of color. That's what I'm trying to go with. And let's scoot him right over here. And I'm going to tilt him a little to the left. How's everyone doing today? I hope everyone's doing well. And I'm going to put that one right there, and I think we're going to stop right there. I think that looks beautiful. What do you think? Okay, now let's work on the mushroom down here. Let's see what we can put beside it to make it look like it's just beautiful and magical. I think this one looks beautiful. Now let's try to find something else. Let's see here. If I can get it off of there. There we go. It's a pretty leaf, or pretty greenery. And we're going to put it right here on the other side of that mushroom. Now I think we need one more little piece. So let's see what we can find. But I need it to be a little small, a little slim. So let's go with this cactus here. It's slim and I think it's just going to look beautiful. Right here. Perfect. I'm going to cover it in resin. Make sure it's nice and right where I want it. Now I'm going to use my heat gun, but I'm not going to put a whole lot of heat on it because I don't want to wrinkle up any of my stickers or anything that I've put on here. I'm going to spritz a little alcohol. And I'm going to make sure that everything is down and not sticking up out of the resin. And I will probably have to babysit this one a bit to make sure none of those butterflies' wings are trying to come out of the resin. I'm going to cover it and I'll see you back. Okay, we're back. I'm going to take this black alcohol ink and I'm going to put it in the cup. And I'm going to stir it up. And I'm going to let it sit over there and degas and debubble while we demold the half moon. I don't want to dome it while it's sitting in here because I filled it up to the top and I think it will just make me have some sanding to do. So I'd rather demold it and dome it. Now let's take a little look at the tray. Oh, I'm loving those butterflies. They look beautiful. I don't see any bubbles anywhere. And this is the matte tray I was telling you about. It is, I love those edges being matte. And we're going to leave them matte. But we're going to go ahead and dome the back with black. And then we'll throw a dome on the inside to make this fairy scene pop. And I'm going to use my deburring tool here. And I'm going to make sure I go around these edges. And clean it all up because we're fixing to put this dome on it and I don't want anything out of place. So I have my little silicone tip tool here that I like to dome with, and we're going to pour some of this resin over our piece. And I like using this little turning table while I dome. It's just a lot easier than sitting there moving the piece a lot. I can just turn it and work. Turn it and work. I love it. And it's glass. I just have to be careful and clean it. You know, because that resin gets on it, it's going to stay there. Okay, I'm going to use a little heat on it. Pop any bubbles. I'm going to spritz a little alcohol after I get this little piece of trash out of there. And I'm going to cover it. And I'll see you back. Okay, here we are. Now the magic happens. Let's bring this tray to life. See, it's matte in there. So nothing inside the jar is really magical right now. But we're fixing to change that. I'm loving these edges here. They are beautiful. It turned out so nice. I'm so happy about no bubbles in the edges there. That's a nice dome on there. Looks very good. This turned out beautiful. Now let's see if we can get this dome to work for us. And we'll have one nice magical fairy tray. Okay, now I want you to watch this. How this comes to life right here when I put this resin on this fairy jar. Pay attention here. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It just sparkles and reminds me of fireflies in a jar. I love it. And these come in a pack of probably 7 or 8 jars in different sizes. And you get the fairies and you get the mushrooms. You get all kinds of things to create with. If anyone's interested in the link to that, let me know. And I will be glad to give it to you. They are on Temu. I'm going to make sure the resin is all to the edges. Make sure I have enough in there. I'm going to drop a little bit more. Okay, I think everything's good. Let's cover it. Now we're back and everything is cured up. Let's take a look at our tray. Oh, I love it. What do you guys think of this? Do you like it? I think it is adorable. She moved a little bit in the jar. Remember, I had her down all the way at the bottom, but I'm loving how she moved because it looks just like she was sitting there all along. So I'm so glad it moved. Sometimes we get those happy surprises, and then sometimes they're not so happy. But I'm very pleased with this tray. For those of you who stayed through the entire video, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And I hope to see you in the next video. God bless you. Bye-bye, my friends.